but anytime we can get the opportunity to talk with Dan Patrick, because Dan works, trust me, if you've been watching TV, Dan works for 23 of the 24 hours. 23 of the 24 hours. We talked to Dan Patrick, who joins us live from London. Dan, you wide awake?
I think so. I'm at Westminster. I just went up on the London Eye, so I'm enjoying the sights and sounds, and then I got work coming up in a couple hours.
How is that London Eye? How many people can they fit in one of those little pods or whatever?
I think around 20, and 20 comfortably. But the sights that you see, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing what they did with it, and being such a new structure with all of the historical landmarks here and the sights you see for probably 25, 30 miles. So Wembley, you can see that from the Eye. Obviously, Big Ben and Parliament. Where there's going to be beach volleyball tonight. So it's pretty spectacular.
Dan Etzev told me to ask you this question because you've been sending back, or they've been finding pictures of you with Missy Franklin and Serena Williams and all of these stars or whatever. They wanted to find out what it was like for those people to be with you.
Well, yeah, they asked for the pictures.
I thought
to be taken with me. I didn't ask to be have a photo taken with them.
Right.
They said, "Could we have a photo with you?" So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then they gave me a copy so I could send it back home.
I would expect the call from Usain Bolt any second now. I would expect it.
But over in the NBC compound, though, Glenn, you're just walking around because you're in between segments on TV, and all of a sudden the U.S. gymnasts come through. So there's Gabby Douglas walking by, and so it's just sort of this turnstile with all of these different Olympians that are coming through. So it's kind of commonplace to have that.
How different is this in that you've covered a lot of professional sports athletes who are slick, who know exactly what to say at all times? These are Olympians, semi-amateur athletes who haven't made an awful lot of money over the years. They will now, and don't do an awful lot of interviews. How different has it been experience interviewing them?
Well, it makes my job easier because you're actually getting something that surprises you. The women's water polo coach who called a timeout with 1 second left nearly cost them a chance to play for the gold medal, said afterwards, I blew it. I made a mistake. You can't imagine an NBA coach or a manager or a football coach saying that. It's usually double talk, but I think that you find the coaches and the athletes are honest because they don't know better. You get genuine emotion. And I think that's part of the beauty of it because, not to sound, too American here, but you're proud when you see it. You're proud when you see what these people do. And they're just regular people who get the spotlight maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then they go on with their lives. Now, the gymnasts are going to be stars, basketball players. There's certain sports that will benefit, but when you see true, genuine, honest answer and emotion, you forget how great that used to be because we don't see that too much stateside.
We're actually going to have Adam Krikorian on a little bit later on in the program, so I'll be fascinated to see what he has to say.
Fritzy, by the way, Fritzy, great job. I've been checking out the guest list, and you've covered this. I'm proud. I'm proud of what you guys have been doing.
Well,
so.
he had double duty the last couple of days too. He had to do the poll question. Not that McLovin doesn't do a phenomenal job. And by the way, I know you missed the poll question, so I want to throw it out to you today. The Washington Nationals have an interesting situation. They are in first place right now. They have the best record in baseball. They also have Steven Strasburg, who they claim they're going to shut down apparently at 160, 170 innings. Do you shut him down to save the kid long term, or do you continue to pitch him because you got a chance to win the whole thing?
But I said this about a month ago, Glenn. If they were smarter with this, they would have saved him for August and September instead of pitching him in May. If you know there's a pitch count, an innings count, then why not use those to your best advantage? And you got a good pitching staff. You need Strasburg when there are games on the line. Game in May as opposed to a game in September, I want him in September. Plus, you could do a six-man rotation.
Right.
It's not the number of innings. It's when you're pitching those innings, what you do in those innings. He may have, 7, 1, 2, 3 innings in a game. Now, that's not hey, boy, he went 7 innings. No, he didn't have to work as hard. There'll be other ones where you go, now he's really struggling. Let's shut him down and do a 6-man rotation. I think they could have been smarter with him. I'm surprised that this crept up on him, and it may cost them dearly in the end. What has been one of the biggest surprises in all of baseball.
No question. I'm with you. I stretch him out. I try to find a way of stretching him out, whether it's 6-man rotation, having him skip starts here or there. How big a story, and how are you guys prepared for this if the U.S. hoops, the men's basketball team, don't win? Because it will be the number one story above Bolt, above Phelps, correct?
Yeah. Yes, there are 2 things that are guaranteed to happen. The U.S. women and the U.S. men win gold. I mean, that's like the U.S. women, there's no shot that they can lose. Right. The men, there's always that possibility because they love shooting the threes. I'm still going to be surprised. I talked to Doug Collins at length about this a couple of days ago, and he just said these other teams just can't, they can't play with them. You know, they're 5 against our 5, and then it goes deep, and then all of a sudden they're in trouble. So it doesn't matter who they face. It still goes back to what I told you a couple of days ago. The only way they lose is if they beat themselves. Another team won't beat them. If they take it for granted, you get into that one-on-one stuff, and everybody wants to have their own highlight reel, and Anthony Davis forgets to put on his jersey. Stupid stuff like that. Right. And there's a chance, but I don't see that happening at all.
If it's USA-Russia, Doug Collins, is he working the game?
Yes, he will be. Yes, he will be, and that's a topic that Doug is not shied away from. About and if people aren't aware of it, just Google 1972 Olympics men's basketball and understand exactly what transpired. One of the more amazing stories in sports history. Embarrassing stories, but Doug and that crew, I don't think they ever accepted their silver medals. They did not on principle.
Yeah, they did not. They're hidden somewhere in a vault or whatever. It changed the manufacturing of clocks after 72. They changed how they make them and everything else, apparently.
But we don't have, there's no real rivalry. Now, I will say this, the Brits do not appreciate us at all.
Really?
Our American, no, not at all.
Thought we were like allies, right? No,
they boo the U.S.
Really?
The crowds here, which will be interesting because you got women's beach volleyball tonight, 2 American teams, which would be hard, but to root against them. But that's probably the biggest surprise I've had over here is that the coverage of U.S. athletes and really how people view the American athletes is different. It's almost to go out of their way to root against them, and that was surprising. That stood out to me and really kind of disappointing.
The boys told me that we're going to talk to you tomorrow. Let's expound on that tomorrow. I'd like to talk a little bit more. That's a fascinating subject. You're doing a great job over there. I hope you're having a blast, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
I am, but I look forward to getting back, and I'm now going into Westminster Abbey. As one of my daughters said, do you think I could get married in there? I said, well, there is always a chance with Prince Harry. So I'll talk to you guys later. And
hey, Dan. Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
The British don't like you, remember?
That's right. Oops. Now I got to tell my daughter. McLovin, thank you for the personal phone call, the private phone call that you made to me yesterday. That was very nice of you. As you said, nobody else wanted to talk to me from the Danettes. But thank you. That was nice that you called and said all those nice things.
No, I meant it, Dan. I love you.
Okay.
There's new.
Talk to you later.
See you, Dan. There's new information right there. Dan Patrick, live from London. Paula, you didn't make a phone call?
Maybe here or there. A little earlier in the Olympics.
Early? They're closing out this weekend. What are you talking about? Seton, no? Didn't make the phone call to Dan? Hey, Dan, how you doing? How's the family?
I'll send a text here and there.
A text?
Yeah. I've gotten the same reply to about 5 of them, though. I usually just get back booyah. And so I don't really know.
Well, Dan's busy, you know. He doesn't have an awful lot of time. A couple letters probably serves just the same purpose and correspondence.
Well, Dan can be 5 feet away from me, and I say yes or no question. He'll say K back every time.
There you go. Again, brief, succinct, to the point. That's what makes Dan such a great professional. Fritzy, you didn't.
I've been sprinkling a couple of emails and texts. I've been trying to leave him alone. I harass him enough when he's here. I'm letting him let him do his thing at the Olympics.
Well, I tell you what, I only heard love for one Danette right there in that phone conversation.